Now we go to discuss the protocooperation of lactic acid bacteria. Protocooperation means they help each other to grow better. For making yogurt, we use two strains of bacteria, Streptococcus thermophilus and Lactobacillus bulgaricus. We can use one. Actually, to do fermentation, we can use one. But it's better to use two. Because these two, when they work together, they work better. They help each other. They produce faster lactic acid. They produce more flavor component as well. So in yogurt, it's already for a long tradition that they use two strains in combination. And now we will explain how do they help each other to grow. The Streptococcus thermophilus will grow first. This is milk. Milk will provide nutrient. And this curve, the solid curve is stimulation curve. Milk provide nutrient and stimulate lactic acid bacteria to grow. This grow first in a condition that the oxygen should be low. This is one of the other reasons why we do deaeration. We remove air, remove oxygen for a number of purposes that we discuss here. Also remove to have low oxygen so this one can grow. And then when this one grow, it will produce CO2 and produce formic acid, a small amount of formic acid. CO2 and formic acid stimulate solid curve, stimulate the growth of Lactobacillus bulgaricus. And now this one grow. When it's grow, it will hydrolyze protein. And we already discussed one of the functions is to hydrolyze proteins into small peptides into a certain amount of amino acids. And these one are good nutrients that stimulate the growth of Streptococcus thermophilus. So first, this one have the other one, but then when the other one grow, also have this one too. And then these nutrients will stimulate the growth of Streptococcus, and when they grow, they will produce lactic acid. When these two grow, they will produce lactic acid. If you look at the curve, formation of lactic acids, production of lactic acid. Lactic acid, when it is produced for a small amount, then it's helpful for them to grow. They grow faster. But when it is accumulated at a higher amount, lower pH, then now lactic acid will inhibit the growth. You see, this is the inhibition curve. When the pH is dropping down at a certain low pH value, it will inhibit other microorganisms. But when the pH is further down, it also inhibit the lactic acid bacteria as well. So you look at this. So you can just watch again the clips to review. So I don't need to mention again another time. But you need to know that they actually help each other to grow. What do we see here? Just also to confirm the previous slide. Streptococcus thermophilus, Lactobacillus bulgaricus. You see, the Streptococcus will grow first in number. The Lactobacillus will grow later, but then at the end also it will grow in quite similar number. And when they both grow, the pH is actually dropping down. Beginning step, pH dropping a little bit slowly, but then after that very fast, and then after that slowed again. When the pH is at a certain level low, then the fermentation becomes slow again, because low pH inhibit the lactic acid bacteria. And I mentioned before that acetaldehyde, this is a typical flavor component of yogurt. You see, the production is high like this at certain time. And in making yogurt, we have two strains again, Streptococcus thermophilus and Lactobacillus bulgaricus. Which one have higher optimal temperature for growth? If we look here, the below image, Lactobacillus bulgaricus grow optimally at 45 degrees C. Streptococcus, thermophilus, these both are thermophilic bacteria if you remember that. So this one has the name thermophilus. It doesn't mean that it has higher optimal temperature for growth compared to Lactobacillus bulgaricus. So Streptococcus grow more optimally at 40 degrees C. And the incubation in making yogurt is normally at 43 degrees C. So why they put at 43? So they both can grow at kind of same speed to maintain the ratio 1:1 between them. So we are already done with discussing about yogurts, and now we go to talk a little bit on other fermented products. So yogurt, we have set type, we have stir type, we have drink type of yogurt. And in many parts of the world, frozen yogurt is also available or common, like in Vietnam. Nowadays, we have more yogurt in the fridge, but in the past, like 10 years before, then most of the yogurt in Vietnam market were in frozen form because they put yogurt in a freezer. When you put product in a freezer, of course, then the sell life is longer, it can be a year instead of 45 days, can be a year, right? Much longer. But then the product will be too cold to eat, for example. In tropical countries like Vietnam, then it's kind of suitable because the weather is hot. Yeah. And then there are other products like concentrated yogurt. This is a specific kind of yogurt. Has another name here, latne, or yogurt cheese. They make yogurt, but they remove part of the whey. So the dry matter content of the final product is higher. So they call it cheese, but the taste is like yogurt. And kefir is also quite popular. Kefir is made by fermentation with not only lactic acid bacteria, but also with yeast. So the product contains some amount of ethanol. And this image is kefir grain, exactly the starter coater to make kefir. So lactic acid bacteria and yeast, when they grow, they just bind together like that to form the grains. These are actually the biomass of lactic acid bacteria and yeast together. So you just add this into your pasteurized milk, and then after a while of fermentation, you have kefir. It's quite simple to make. You can do fermentation at room temperature. You don't need to 43 degrees C. And then after fermentation, you can do straining or filtering to take the grains and to keep it for the next batch of processing. There's another product. It's not available in Vietnam. It's called sour cream. The cream, they use cream to do fermentation. And the fermentation is not with the same starter coater, but with mesophilic lactic acid bacteria, Streptococcus lactic, Streptococcus diacetyl lactis. This one will produce a flavor component, diacetyl flavor component. So the flavor profile of sour cream is kind of different from the flavor profile of yogurt because you have different flavor component. Or buttermilks, a byproduct from making butter, we will discuss in the next part. When we make butter, we have a byproduct called buttermilks, and they also use this to do fermentation, so you have a fermented buttermilk. This product is very rich in phospholipids, in polar lipid. It's also good. And we have long life yogurt, yogurt with heat treatment to increase the cell life. We have other novel food, functional product with added probiotics, with added some other component like fibers, more vitamins, more minerals, and so on. Okay, good. So, do you have questions for yogurt part?